Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of DMS 3000 News. It's episode number 127 on this Monday afternoon, February 26, 2024. 3 days left to the month of February comes to an end. Yes, we are 3 days away from the end of the month, and instead of being 2 days, because this year is leap year, so March 1st is actually on Thursday this week. So but win, lose, or draw, this is the final week of February going into March and going into the third month of the year. So fast, maybe for some, but for others, it's been very slow and very, very long. I'm taking my time with it. But in the meantime, however you are, hopefully you're feeling great and ready to go for another week here on the program. Hope you enjoyed last Friday's Town Hall Style. I enjoyed it as much as I hope you enjoyed it receiving it. We'll have another topic this week of positivity on the Town Hall Style this Friday, so stay tuned for that. But right now, we're going to, of course, let you know that I am Jason DeCanio, the host of DMS 3000 News, every day here from 4 to 5:30, give or take, depending on it. And we hope that you are enjoying the program. And like I said, we're getting close to May sweeps here, and in the month of May, we're going to have that very important first meeting for everybody. That's listeners, viewers, staff of the David 3000 Network, MVG Productions, and the 25. You're all invited to meet to weekly meetings during the month of May to talk about the summer schedule, which is going to be officially launching June 1st. And in that summer schedule, there's going to be new shows, some time changes, some different things. Maybe we can get a whole new thing started. One thing I can tell you from the looks of the fall and spring schedule, we've got the entire morning open. Yeah, that's for sure. I saw a copy of the schedule right now, and the way everything looks, or the way it's going right now, in the summertime, if we can't get a new program, we're going to have open block from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. That means somebody with a show, hopefully, will be able to come up with something in that morning time slot. We'll see what happens. For right now, though, we're going to go ahead and look at the articles that we're going to be doing today on the program. First up is the heroic Uber driver who offers ailing passenger his kidney. Yes, what a terrific success story. You don't ever see Uber drivers or anyone from that matter offering the passenger a kidney, let alone the taxi drivers. They're so gulped in their work and everything. But this particular heroic Uber driver, he did the impossible, and we'll look at his fantastic story. And then I was addicted to my phone, but here's how I got over it. Yes, if you're the kind of person that cannot put the phone down for 5 seconds, long enough to even take a bite to eat, here's how this person got over their addiction, and hopefully you'll be able to take some vital notes for that. And here's a commentary about attitude is everything, by the famous evangelist Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer is a fantastic author. She's written a lot of self-help and religious books, and she's got her congregation too as well. She's been a evangelist for over 40 years, so she's been around. She knows what she's doing. She's going to talk about an essay, which we will definitely go over later in the program, on Attitude is Everything by Joyce Meyer. So that should be a good one. Plus, we have our headlines, sports, and very important information. Of course, News of the Weird is here today for Monday. What day is today? And the motivation of the day. Also, too, don't forget the events that take place during Black History Month. There are 3 days left, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday and Thursday. So there's actually 4 days. It's really 3 days left out of it. But we've been giving you the historic events that have taken place during the month of February, which is Black History Month. So we hope that you're enjoying that. We'll give you those of the day, okay? And also, too, this Wednesday coming up at 6 o'clock is the Chilling 3000 Hangout Show with David St. Dennis. His special guest will be Jason Kelly, one of my favorite announcers who I've worked with for over the past 13 years, doing game shows and other great stuff. David has a great interview with him coming up this Wednesday night. And speaking of Wednesday night, new episode of Wipe Those Tears with me and the Tear Masters. I've got Gianni Pizzi, Scott McVeigh, Brandon Bogard, and Mark Leota. All of us are ready to go for episode number, I think it's going to be 23? 20, I'm not sure. I know it's one of those episodes, but we'll give you the right numbers on that. Probably after the break, if anything. I'll give you the right numbers. But check us out every Wednesday night. You know we're there. We're continuing our look at the NES games with the letter I. Yes, we're in with the letter I this week. We've gone through some pretty interesting titles, including the Ikari Warriors series. So thank God we got over that one. And the important information that I have, well, I'll just keep it a secret until after we reveal that for after the sports, okay? Right now, we're going to go to the headlines for today, February 26th, 2024. The Supreme Court will hear challenges to Texas and Florida social media laws. These cases raise a critical question for the First Amendment and the future of social media, whether states can force the platforms to carry content they find hateful or objectionable. Yes. And climate change and your money, exploring the many ways that climate change hits people's bank accounts, often with long-term effects. And with or without a ceasefire, Netanyahu says Israeli operation in Rafah will happen. As talks over a ceasefire in Gaza continue, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his cabinet was reviewing military plans for Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinians are sheltering. Navalny was about to be swapped for a Russian prisoner in Germany, an associate says. An associate of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny says in a video statement, talks were underway shortly before his death to exchange him for a Russian imprisoned in Germany. Oof. Humanitarian crisis grows in Gaza as mediation attempts resume meditation. Oh boy. In the past week, the number of people displaced in Gaza reached 1.7 million. Egypt fears a border crisis in the Sinai Peninsula, and negotiators began work toward a potential pause in the fighting. Hungary has opposed Sweden's bid to join NATO, the final hurdle to membership. Hungary's parliament has approved Sweden's bid to join NATO, clearing the way for the Nordic nations' accession to military alliance after 2 years of intense negotiations. Poland's judiciary was a tool of its own government. New leaders are trying to undo that. Poland's far-right Law and Justice Party spent 8 years stacking the courts with allies, destroying the judiciary's independence. The new government is finding it tough to undo the damage. Surge in syphilis cases drives some doctors to ration penicillin. The drug is the go-to treatment for syphilis and the only one recommended for pregnant people. But a shortage of the injectable drug has prompted some public health agencies to ration it. Raising a child with autism in Kenya and facing stigma, finding glimmers of hope. In Africa, there is a shortage of specialists and a lack of financial support for families who can't afford therapy. We look at how 3 families are coping. Gaza ceasefire talks inch forward. Supreme Court hears social media censorship case. Negotiators are inching toward another ceasefire deal in Gaza, even as Netanyahu vows to move troops into Rafah, and the Supreme Court hears a case that could define the internet's future. RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel says she'll step down March 8th. The decision is not a surprise. McDaniel previously said she'd step down after the South Carolina primary, which was held Saturday. And why do we leap day? We remind you so you can forget about for another 4 years. Why do we have leap years, and what are we supposed to do or not do with our rare extra day? NPR's Morning Edition spoke with experts in astronomy, history, and economics to find out. And speaking of leap year, on Leap Year's Day, which is the 29th, which is this Thursday, we will look at why we celebrate leap year every 4 years. So we'll give you that article come this Thursday on DMS 3000 News. Michigan's elections chief wants to protect voters, poll workers, and democracy itself. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson sat down with Morning Edition in Detroit days ahead of the state's primary to discuss her approach to election security in 2024. And why Egypt won't allow vulnerable Palestinians across its border? Egypt's empty Sinai Peninsula would offer safety for Palestinian civilians, but Egypt fears refugees might never be allowed back, citing the painful history of earlier Israeli-Palestinian wars. And this is what happens when a wind farm comes to a coal town. Kaiser in West Virginia represents a national shift in American energy production. And in a town that was defined by coal for generations, change can be difficult. To stop fentanyl deaths in Philly, knocking on doors and handing out overdose kits. In Philadelphia, canvassers are going door to door to warn some residents of the overdose rates in their neighborhood and handing out Narcan or Narcan, fentanyl test strips, and information resources. And if you were one of the people who had the outage by AT&T, you're going to get a $5 credit on your next billing cycle. That's right. The Dallas-based company said on its website that customers will get the $5 credit on their account within 2 billing cycles. The credit does not apply to AT&T Business, prepaid service, or Cricket. Vigils held nationwide for a non-binary Oklahoma teen who died following school fight. Next, Benedict, a 16-year-old who identified as non-binary, got into an altercation with 3 girls in an Owasso High School bathroom who were picking on Benedict and some friends. Tuvalu named Feletti Tio as its new prime minister. The nation's former attorney general was named prime minister of the tiny South Pacific nation Monday. It was not immediately clear how the new government will affect China's influence in the country. Conservative mega donors Koch not funding Haley anymore as she continues long shot bid. The influential Koch network of conservative mega donors announced it will no longer be spending its resources on Haley's presidential bid, saying no outside group can widen her path to victory. And finally, U.S. airman dies after settling himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy. Aaron Bushnell, who was an active duty member of the U.S. Air Force based in San Antonio, Texas, is seen in a video saying, "Free Palestine," after lighting himself on fire. Wow. And there you have it, friends. The headlines for today for February 26, 2024. Let's go now to the NBA. A lot of games this week. We got it covered for you. Let's do the scores. And of course, we're also going to be looking at spring training games too, because spring training is upon us, folks. Excuse me, let me get comfortable here. We got games to go back as far as the weekend, so let's take a look at Friday's games. Friday, the Raptors over the Hawks, 123 to 121. It was the 76ers over the Cavaliers, 104 to 97. Heat over the Pelicans, 106 to 95. Thunder over the Wizards, 147 to 106. Clippers over the Grizzlies, 101 to 95. Rockets over the Suns, 114 to 110. It was the Nuggets, 127. Trailblazers, 112. Hornets lose to the Warriors, 97 to 84. It was the Bucks over the Timberwolves, 112 to 107. And the Lakers beat the Spurs, 123 to 118. On Saturday, the Magic beat the lowly Pistons 112 to 109. It was the Celtics over the Knicks 116 to 102. And in a blowout, the Timberwolves crushed the Nets again, keeping the Nets under 100 points. You know, they got a new head coach, and he's already lost 3 in a row. They lose to the Timberwolves 101 to 86. Yesterday's games, the Bucks over the 76ers 119 to 98. It was the Suns over the Lakers 123 to 113. Pacers over the Mavericks, 133 to 111. Cavaliers beat the Wizards, 114 to 105. Nuggets crushed the Warriors by 16, 119 to 103. Thunder over the Rockets, 123 to 110. It was the Hawks over the Magic, 109 to 92. Bulls beat the Pelicans, 114 to 106. Jazz over the Spurs, 128 to 109. The Hornets beat the Trailblazers, 93 to 80. That was low scoring for the Trailblazers. And the Kings over the Clippers, 123 to 107. Tonight's games have the Raptors at the Pacers. Face-off is at 7 o'clock. Pistons at the Knicks at 7:30. The Nets will take on the Grizzlies in Memphis at 8 o'clock. And the Kings will host the Heat tonight at 10 o'clock. All right, now we go to the NHL, where there were a lot of games going on for the hockey. When we come back off of a weekend, we've got a lot of hockey games to look at. There was only three games on Friday. Sabres over the Blue Jackets 2-1. Was the Jets over the Blackhawks 3-2 in OT. And the Wild beat the Oilers 4-2. Then on Saturday, the Red Wings beat the Blues 6-1. Devils over the Canadiens 4-3. Go Devils. Lightning beat the Islanders 4-2. Rangers over the Flyers 2-1. Panthers over the Capitals 3-2. It was the Canucks in OT over the Bruins 3-2. And the Maple Leafs over the Avalanche 4-3. Senators beat the Golden Knights 4-3 in a shootout. The Stars beat the Hurricanes 2-1. Predators over the Sharks 4-2. Flames 6. Oilers 3. Wild over the Kraken 5-2. And in a shootout, the Kings take care of the Ducks 3-2. In yesterday's game, the Lightning beat the Devils 4-1. It was the Penguins over the Flyers in a Philly matchup. Penguins win 7-6. Red Wings over the Blackhawks in an OT game 3-2. Shootout between the Sabres and the Hurricanes ended with the Sabres winning 3-2. In OT, it was the Jets over the Coyotes 4-3. Blue Jackets beat the Rangers 4-2. And the Predators beat the Ducks 4-2. Tonight's games. Senators at the Capitals face off 7 o'clock. Islanders at the Stars 8 o'clock. 9:30 Kings at the Oilers, and at 10 o'clock the Bruins will take on the Kraken in Seattle. Let's look at the MLB now. Spring training. Yeah, a lot of action going on now as we're coming to the first week of spring training is pretty much right now. It's starting, and boy, we had a lot going on. Let's see. We had to do yesterday. Let's see. This was okay. Friday, Saturday. Okay, we're going up to Friday the 23rd. Okay. Well, the Dodgers beat the Padres on Thursday, 14-1. Cubs beat the White Sox. These are the Friday finals. 8-1 was the Rangers 5, Royals 4. Dodgers over the Padres again, 4-1. Somehow they just did a home and a home. Rockies over the Diamondbacks, 3-0. Then on Saturday was the Marlins over the Cardinals, 9-8. Braves beat the Rays 6-5. Yankees in a high-scoring game with the Tigers, 22-10. Holy cow! Oilers beat the Red Sox 4-3. It was the Twins over the Pirates, 5-3. Phillies outlast the Blue Jays and beat them by 1, 14-13. Cardinals 10, Mets 5. Royals over the Rangers 5-4. Rockies over the Athletics 5-1. Cubs over the Giants 8-4. Reds over the Guardians 4-0 in the shutout. White Sox narrowly edged the Mariners 8-7. Brewers 11, Padres 7. It was the Diamondbacks 6 and the Rockies 2. And the Angels and the Dodgers ended up in a 7-7 tie, so they don't go to extra innings. And the Astros beat the Nationals 7-4. Then on Sunday, it was a tie between the Tigers and the Rays, 9-9. Yankees 12, Blue Jays 6, Red Sox 8, Twins 6. Cardinals 3, Astros nothing. Phillies over the Yankees, shut them out 4-0. Orioles shut out the Pirates 2-0. Red Sox over the Braves 5-4. Mets beat the Astros 3-1. It was the Nationals 6, Marlins 3. The Dodgers over the Athletics 4-2. The Reds over the Angels 9-4. Giants and Rangers 0-0. Don't mean yep. Padres over the Cubs 7-0. Shut them out. Rockies over the Brewers 10-3. Guardians 8, Mariners 4. Diamondbacks 5, White Sox nothing, and the Royals beat the Angels 1-0. Spring training, we've got some finals going on right now. Orioles beat the Braves 2-1. Rays over the Orioles this is a split squad actually, so you got to remember that too. Rays beat the Orioles in a split squad 8-3. Tigers over the Astros 4-0. Red Sox over the Phillies 7-6. Mets beat the Nationals 6-3. Final between the Yankees and the Twins. Yankees 9, Twins 2. Pirates over the Blue Jays 8-4. The Cardinals and the Marlins are finishing a 1-1 tie. Right now, in the bottom of the third, the Athletics have a 3-2 lead over the Diamondbacks. In the bottom of the fourth, White Sox 2, Rangers 1. Bottom of the third, Angels have a 7-1 lead over the Giants. Bottom of the fifth, 0-0, Mariners and Reds. Bottom of the third, Cubs losing to the Royals right now, 4-0. Bottom of the third, Guardians. Guardians over the Padres, 4-0 in bottom of the third. Bottom of the third in with the Reds and the Brewers, it's a 2-2 tie. And bottom of the third, Dodgers have a 4-1 lead over the Rockies. So there you go. All right. And those are the spring training games for today. And, of course, for sports for February 26th, 2024. Now, for my great important information that I always like to give on this Monday and to start you off with the week. I was very impressed last Friday with the results of the views of the town hall style show that we did here in the back. You already had like 21 views going into the weekend. I don't know what those views are now, but I'll get your running total and probably give you those results from the weekend as the show is still being watched by a lot of you. This week's town hall topic will be about communication, how important it is to communicate with people. So if you have good communication, good things can happen. Plus, on to the Weight Watchers journey. Oh boy, you're going to love this, folks. I posted it on Facebook. If you're my friend on Facebook, you already know what I'm going to tell you. If you have never seen any of my posts, I usually post first thing in the morning. Now, I weighed myself today at 8:30, but I tried an experiment last week that I want to kind of give you before we go to break. Last week, I incorporated breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I did not skip a meal or incorporate breakfast and lunch together. I had breakfast before I left, and if I had my day off, I made a good breakfast, usually of eggs and a bagel and some onions, scramble them up, and usually put some salsa or some other good stuff on it to give it a good protein breakfast. And but I also had a lot of oatmeal last week. No Chinese food at all. No Chinese food. And I only had one slice of pizza. That's it. One slice of pizza the whole week. I had my pizza craving. Yes, I satisfied it with one slice of pizza. Also had my Teriyaki Madness, which you know I have every Tuesday. So Tuesday is Teriyaki Madness Day here at the studio. Have it for lunch and have it for dinner. So with all of that, after 13 weeks, because now we're in week number 14, folks, I dropped 29 pounds so far, lost 3.5 this past week. Now the total pounds, the total current weight I'm at, 305. That's right. I lost 29 pounds now officially in 13 weeks. I am so close to getting under 300 for the first time in almost, I would say, 8-9 years. It's been a long time since I've been under 300 pounds, and this would be a first. So I am so proud of myself, and I know, thank you for your continued support on Facebook. Keep those comments coming, and we'll just continue going here. Like I said, accountability is the one thing that we all try to do around here, and I'm giving you an accountability each week. So 305 pounds is the total pounds, 29 pounds down, 13 weeks after. We're in week 14. We'll see how it goes. All right. With all of that, we're going to take our first commercial break of the day. And when we come back, we'll look at news of the weird and what holiday is today. All of this and more on DMS 3000 News right after this.
Show and tell time.
Another teddy bear? My teddy's name is Teddy Ruxpin. He talks, he tells stories,
Four batteries not included.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
Yeah.
I really enjoy talking to people. I would like you.
Teddy Ruxpin, the storytelling bear, comes with illustrated book and cassette from Worlds of Wonder.
Wednesday,
I'm in love.
Charlie's little girl falls for an older guy with
Style.
Charlie and Company. Then on George Burns Comedy Week,
I want to be known for my plays.
a serious, struggling playwright
Mr. Honeybunny, your car.
sells out.
Who's going to take me seriously?
Well, I take you seriously.
Then, ready for high adventure, terror in outer space?
We'll have coffee.
Then you're ready for Robert Hayes, Julie Haggerty, and Peter Graves in Airplane 2, Wednesday.
Gleaming in the morning light, home of She-Ra shining bright, Crystal Castle.
You put it together. She-Ra sold separately. You can pretend.
Magic things shine everywhere, 'cause it has a secret power. Lifted high on her throne, She-Ra saves the world alone. The fate of the world safe in Crystal Castle, Princess of Power.
Crystal Castle comes with everything you see here. She-Ra dolls sold separately. New from Mattel. Introducing Casey, the tape player that talks to you.
He winks, he talks to you.
Hi, my name is Casey.
Casey, it's amazing the things you can do.
Casey tells stories and jokes too. Tell us a joke, Casey.
What do you get when you mix 2 ducks with 1 cow? Quackers and milk.
Casey, you're amazing.
Casey plays your tapes too. Batteries not included.
Santa Claus will be here real soon.
Casey, you're amazing.
Casey comes with activity book and cassette from Play School. Other cassettes sold separately.
All right, it's time for News of the Weird. That's right. From the editors at Andrews McNeil Syndication at uexpress.com. Oh boy, it's another week and we're ready to go. And speaking of which, we are officially counting down the days to the Saturday's show with McVeigh and Jay. Me and Scott McVeigh will be on at 9 o'clock for the Variety Hour from 9 to 10 here live on StreamYard. It should be a really great first show. We're going to have fun. We're going to look at, of course, News of the Weird for the new update. And, of course, that way you won't know what's going on until you read it. We'll look at those headlines, plus tell some jokes, look at some retro arcade games, just reminisce on the first show, kind of break the ice. And then, of course, later on down in the weeks ahead, we'll, of course, have special guests as well to join us. So it should be a fun day, fun evening, Saturdays with McVeigh and Jay. Check it out, 9 p.m. Eastern on the David 3000 Network. News of the Weird takes the place right now. The lead story for today. Wait, how many? Yeah, and you thought that your glove box was full of unpaid parking tickets was impressive? Police detectives and patrol officers arrested Ioka Keith, also known as Carol Ann Sumner, on February 16, 2 weeks after she was charged with an astonishing 322 felonies and 327 misdemeanors by the Spring Township Police Department in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. Now, Keith is an over-the-road trucker, and her 649 warrants were related to the theft of thousands of dollars from a relative. Wow! Holy cow. A 42-year-old resident of Ajax, Ontario, was arrested and charged with impaired driving on February 20th at the Durham? Yeah, the Durham Regional Police Station, where he had driven to complain about his arrest for public intoxication from earlier that morning. The man asked to speak with the supervisor when he arrived at the station, but officers noticed he seemed to be intoxicated, and after confirming he had driven himself, issued a breathalyzer test, which the man failed. His license was suspended, and his vehicle was impounded. The Hockenheimring racetrack in Baden-Württemberg, Germany, was the setting for a Guinness World Record-setting run recently. The speed reached 92.24 miles per hour. Might not sound so impressive, but Fulda University engineering student Marcel Paul attained that velocity in a toy car. Paul spent 10 months modifying the miniature Porsche with the goal of beating the 88 miles an hour, made famous by the time-traveling DeLorean DMC-12 in the Back to the Future movies, and in the process created the world's fastest ride-on toy car. Said one user in the comments on Paul's Instagram video of the milestone event, "Hell no, that looks dangerous." 8 potty-mouthed parrots are set to rejoin the rest of their flock at the Lincolnshire Wildlife Park in Boston, United Kingdom, after zoo officials decided that recent efforts to help the dirty birds clean up their act in isolation had shown promise. Steve Nichols, who serves as the chief executive of the park, still isn't sure what will happen when the birds are reunited with their more well-known behaved peers. We could end up with 100 swearing parrots on our hands, Nicholas said. Only time will tell. For now, the park does not plan to take down its signs warning visitors of the potential for foul language. And it's never too late to graduate, and Fred Allen Smalls of Georgetown, South Carolina, is proof. Smalls took the stage at Georgetown High School on February 4th, the day before his 106th birthday, to receive an honorary diploma at a ceremony that came to fruition largely due to the efforts of his granddaughter. Smalls completed 8th grade in the 1930s and moved to Washington, D.C., where he worked as a janitor and held several other jobs before beginning a career with the District of Columbia, eventually retiring during the John F. Kennedy administration. Now, WPDE ABC 15 reported that the diploma was something he's wished for most of his life. And the diploma wasn't the first time Smalls made recent news. In 2023, ABC News recognized him as the oldest Philadelphia Eagles fan. Wow. A coyote that found himself in an ironic predicament in mid-January has the Humane Animal Welfare Society, or HAWS, and the Wildlife and Need Center, which is WINSEE, of Waukesha County, Wisconsin, to thank for its rescue, maybe with a little help from above. Now, WDJT in Milwaukee reported that the coyote had gotten its head stuck inside a hollow statue of St. Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of animals, while chasing a rabbit. Oh, God. Hey, man, if you're that desperate for the darn rabbit, you stupid coyote, you might as well just give it up and go for the Roadrunner anyways, right? What are you doing chasing a rabbit? You're supposed to be chasing a Roadrunner. Hint, right? The coyote was spotted dragging the statue and working to free itself. But by the next day, the animal was exhausted and still trapped. Hawes located the coyote and transported it to WINSEE, where it was freed, treated for minor injuries, and given the nickname Franny. Why wasn't it given the nickname Wile E. Coyote? Super non-genius, right? More and more libraries across the country have converted to fine-free lending. And that's a very good thing for one patron of the Licking County Library in Ohio. WPDE ABC 15 in Columbus reported that an Instagram post shared by the library included video of a poetry book that recently had been returned about 93 years late. Oh, shoot. The patron had found the Heartthrobs poetry collection at a relative's house and discovered the due date card inside the front cover, last stamped November of 1931. WPDE estimated the total fine would have been approximately $5,770. Oh, my God. In the immortal words of Shaggy, it wasn't me. The Livonia, Georgia Police Department wants residents to know that a chaotic scene in a local graveyard, February 20th, had nothing to do with them. In case you saw or heard the law enforcement commotion, reads a post on the department's Facebook page. Well, it wasn't us. The commotion in question, deputies from the Oconee County Sheriff's Office in neighboring South Carolina had chased a reckless driver across state lines and into Livonia City, Burgess Cemetery, reports Fox 5 Atlanta. The driver, who was apparently late for an appointment, damaged several graves before attempting to flee on foot. Wow. Australian equestrian Shane Rose, a 3-time Olympic medalist, decided to push the sartorial envelope on February 11th, competing in a skippy mankini. Oh, Christ. The kind popularized by the 2006 movie Borat. Yeah. In fairness, The annual Wallaby Hill Extravaganza in New South Wales is a costume competition where equestrians put horses through their paces in all kinds of wacky get-ups. Some even go through multiple costume changes, which was the case with Rose. As the Wallaby Hill Equestrian Center put it on Facebook, Rose truly showed us all he's got as he wore less and less with each horse he entered the arena with. But someone complained about the mankini. Oh gosh, USA Today reported. Leading governing body Equestrian Australia to bar Rose from competing while it investigated. Even rowdy Aussies must follow codes of conduct, after all. For a few days, Rose's 2024 Paris Olympic plans hung in the balance, but he was soon cleared of any wrongdoing. Let's hope he changes clothes before heaving a big sigh of relief. Katerina Savaris of Florida had a late-night craving for tacos on February 13th, so she did what many of us have probably done. She placed a DoorDash order, oh Christ, and hopped in the shower while waiting for her food to be delivered. But when she opened the door to retrieve the Talkin' Tacos delivery, Fox 35 reported that she was met by 3 masked bandits, a trio of raccoons who got to her meal first, eating everything but the tortillas. Oh! Savaris began to film the carnage, but retreated once the raccoons started engaging. One stood up on its hind legs while the other 2 stared her down. Once they started hissing, I shut the door so fast. I was like, they can have the carne asada. It's fine, Savaris said. Talkin' Tacos caught wind of the bandits' antics after Savaris' story went viral on TikTok and sent her a gift card for her troubles. Wow. And that's why, folks, and I say this how many times, when you order from DoorDash, and I am a DoorDash delivery driver, and I know this by true heart, you ask me to leave it on the floor, leave it by the door, I will do everything in my power to lift it up off the ground with at least one of those drink trays. But please, please do not leave your food hanging out for more than 5 to 10 minutes, because I guarantee you the bugs are going to have a feast on your food. Okay? Please do yourself a favor, because once I deliver that food, it's out of my hands. And if for some reason Mother Nature got to it, or some animal or some kind of creature got to your food, there is nothing else I can do after that, because I am long gone after it. So I hope and pray that once I take that picture, submit the delivery, that it was delivered to your front door, I hope and pray that you get it as quickly as possible so that you can enjoy your lunch or dinner before the raccoons have a feast day, or for that matter, any other animal. Okay, do yourself a favor, please. And finally, elsewhere in Florida, bears ransacked a woman's car on Valentine's Day, no less. Cassidy Simo's boyfriend left chocolates in the front seat of her car the night before, intending to give them to her the next day. Big mistake. But NBC2 reported that at about 3:30 on Valentine's morning, the couple woke to find the car in bad shape. Basically, the whole door panel. I can't even open the door at all or roll the windows down. Nothing. Simo's said. No word on if the chocolates were replaced. I don't think so. The bears had a feast day. Well, there you have it, friends. Once again, that tells you never to leave food in the car if you can help it. News of the Weird is, of course, brought to you by the editors at the Andrew McNeil Syndication for uexpress.com. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Oh, my goodness. It's 4:39. Let's take a look at what we've got going on here for what holidays today real quick. So, yeah. Let us take a look at that real quick and see what we've got. A letter to an elder. National Pistachio Day. You like pistachios? Carpe Diem. Okay. Let's see. Tell a fairy tale. Okay. It's National Pistachio Day. Let's take a look at that. Okay, real quick. Put that up on the stage. And of course, you know, today is February 26th, and so we're looking at National Pistachio Day. Sometimes great things really do come in small packages, known as the happy nut in China and the smiling nut in the Middle East. Pistachios have a unique small shape, but pack a powerfully nutritious punch. Aside from having a great smile, these vibrant green nuts let you snack your way to good health by containing as much protein as an egg per serving and myriad of other nutrients. They are part of a very nutty yet irritating family of plants, the evergreen family, which includes mangoes, pistachios, cashews, and, poison ivy. Aside from their curious genealogy, pistachios' incredible health benefits sure give other nuts a run for the money. Stock up on these gloriously green nuts because today on February 26th, we celebrate them with National Pistachio Day. It's an excuse for pistachio lovers worldwide to snack on their favorite nut all day long. Here's the timeline. Starts in 7000 BC. Yes, archaeological evidence suggests that pistachios were being consumed in Turkey during this time. Forward to the 1880s, pistachios were imported to America for citizens of Middle Eastern descent. And in the 1930s, trial and error as experimental pistachio trees are planted in California. And then finally in 2005, the money plant. Pistachio crop value hits $573 million. So what are you going to do? Be a pistachiholic today. Yeah, try and go nuts today by incorporating pistachios into every meal. These versatile nuts have powerful flavor that can elevate a sweet or savory dish throughout your day. Start off with a stack of pistachio pancakes. Ease into lunch with pistachio, pomegranate, and arugula salad. And then enjoy pistachio-encrusted salmon for dinner. And top it all off with some pistachio gelato. Check out the endless array of possibilities and go green. Yeah. Think of ways to food swap some of your not-so-good snacks with pistachios and introduce your friends to these green goodies, too. They're healthy, delicious, and by wrestling them from their shells, they'll help down your food intake. Ever heard of the pistachio effect? Well, pistachios might be the golden green ticket to helping you find you and your friends keep those New Year diet resolutions. Yeah. And these green nuts will make your heart smile too. Heart-healthy, unsaturated fat makes up the majority of the fat in pistachios, so they decrease bad cholesterol and even lower your risk of heart disease. There's no better way to celebrate than getting your snack on guilt-free. Grab a handful or two and go nuts. And why we love the day? Well, one of the oldest flowering nut trees, pistachios have been enjoyed by humans for at least 9,000 years. They're even one of two nuts mentioned in the Old Testament of the Bible, Genesis chapter 43, verse 11. Clearly, they have a history of good taste. And these little treats may be small, but they're nutritional powerhouses. They're one of the top 3 healthiest nuts you can eat. And they're relatively low in calories and contain more than 30 different vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, as well as a mix of omega-3 fatty acids, protein, fiber, and snacking on pistachios will help you keep fuller longer and provide you with a serious nutrition boost. Basically, they're an epic power snack. And finally, in China, pistachios are known as the happy nut because their cracked open shell makes them look like they're smiling. They're known to be a symbol of health, happiness, and good fortune, and are often given as a gift during the Chinese New Year. Who knew pistachios had such beaming personalities? That's right. Next time we'll see National Pistachio Day will be on Wednesday in 2025. So that's the next time we'll see it. Same date on a different day, February 26th. Okay. Well, that's a look at the days of what days today. And when we come back, it's 4:45. So we'll look at our first article, which is coming up right now or right after the break. Heroic Uber driver offers ailing passenger his kidney. We'll look at that article when we come back with more of DMS 3000 News right after this.
I suppose you think that in England we eat pizza with a knife and fork. Wrong. If you're in Australia, you gotta eat pizza Australian style. I fancy being a bit more American at the moment.
Today's testimony in the McKinney trial.
These lonely pound puppies need someone to love. Someone who'd love a little puppy love.
For you, Grandma.
Pound puppies are as cuddly as real puppies.
He'll keep you company in the dorm.
They're the perfect way to say I love you for birthdays, holidays, or any day. Pound puppies, so soft and adorably lonely. Sometimes the hardest thing about giving them.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Is giving them up.
Pound puppy, you're my one and only puppy love.
Hey, how about them apples in new Kellogg's Apple Raisin Crisp? Now we've added big, juicy apples in lots of mouth-watering chunks. Mmm, delicious. New Apple Raisin Crisp cereal. How about them apples?
The Legoland Solar Power Transporter. You can build this transport pretending you're on Mars. The box shows ways to change it by snapping off the cars. You can snap them back together and get a scouting craft, or match them with the lasers for a base defender craft. You can make up something wild, supercharged, and new. The sky's the limit when the team is Legoland and you. There are 19 space sets you can collect, each sold separately. The Solar Power Transporter is part of the Legoland Space Collection and has hundreds of bricks for building from Lego Systems.
That cool, refreshing feeling of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum puts a sparkle in your eye, a spring in your step, and makes things lots of fun.
It's that little lift from Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. It's that little lift. Come on and get you some.
That clean, fresh taste Wrigley's Spearmint's got. That little lift that means a lot.
It's that little lift from Wrigley's Spearmint Gum.
All right, the heroic Uber driver offers ailing passenger his kidney. Sarah Chase has this article from last November, actually, as an Uber driver took a detour when the driver offered his ailing passenger one of his kidneys. Yes, pretty interesting. Here's the story right now. Bill Sumil was having a tough Friday. It was October 2020, and the 71-year-old who was dealing with kidney failure had been on dialysis for a few years, found himself at a vascular center 30 miles from home for the second time in 24 hours. The day before, his brother had driven him to the Vascular Institute in Vineland, New Jersey, for a routine declotting of his dialysis access port, but it unexpectedly clogged again that night. Sumil was no stranger to the struggles of kidney disease. He'd been diagnosed with diabetes more than 20 years before, which led to his kidney problems. He was on the transplant list, but no matches had yet appeared. So he continued with his treatments, including the periodic port declotting that had inexplicably failed this time. Without a ride lined up for Friday's do-over, Sumil took an Uber to and from his appointment. Timothy Letts, 31 years of age, was driving north to visit a friend when his phone pinged with the request for Sumil's ride home. The trip was out of Letts' way. Still, he took the fare, figuring if the passenger was coming from a medical facility, he'd likely need a ride. When Sumil got into the car, Letts could see that the older man was lethargic, but in good spirits. And as they set out on the 40-minute drive to Sumil's home in Salem, the pair got chatting. Bill really lit up the car with positive energy, says Letts, who shared with Sumil that he was a proud Army veteran. Sumil, who works in sales at a company that produces piping, mentioned that in the past he'd enjoyed volunteering at his church and in his community, even serving as president of the city council. But he was doing less these days, he explained, because the dialysis treatments left him exhausted. And then Sumil revealed that he was searching for a kidney donor. Letts joked that he'd be a good donor candidate, given that he didn't drink or smoke. Sumil agreed, though he didn't think much of it as they kept driving. Letts, however, couldn't stop thinking about it. He excitedly told his wife, "The Uber driver just offered me his kidney." And Letts believes in helping others, so donating a kidney was something that was always on my mind, he says. Plus, he already liked and respected Sumil. So about a quarter mile away from Sumil's house, Letts said, "I'd like to see if I could be a match to give you a kidney." I was shocked, Sumil recalls, chuckling. He was shaking so hard he could barely write his name when they exchanged contact information. Once inside his home, he excitedly told his wife, "The Uber driver just offered me his kidney." Well, after the initial excitement, Samil started feeling a bit less optimistic. He was touched by Let's offer, though he wondered if it just had been an emotional moment. Would he hear from him? And what was the likelihood they'd be a match? But Let's was true to his word. He got in touch with Samil just a few hours later, and by the next week, Let's had contacted the kidney transplant program. After a months-long screening process, including an interview, sharing medical records, meeting a living donor advocate, and testing, the results were in. Let's was an ideal donor, and he and Samil were a perfect match. On December 7, 2001, 14 months after they ended up in the same car by chance, Samil and Let's had their surgeries. It was a success. Today, Samil is doing well, working full-time remotely and enjoying time with his family, and no more dialysis. Let's has moved to Germany to work with the Army's Family and Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Department as a civilian. He and Samil keep in touch and look forward to the day they can reunite. Samil is especially excited because, after all, he says, living donors are special people. There you have it, friends. A fantastic article written by Sarah Chase. Thank you, Sarah, for that fantastic article, and we hope you enjoyed it as well, too. Coming up, next 8 minutes to 5 o'clock, we'll look at I was addicted to my phone, and here's how I got over it. The true story of how this person finally kicked the habit and finally put their phone down to actually enjoy some regular time with whoever they were spending or just to get some decent sleep. We'll be back with more DMS 3000 News right after this.
I'm home.
Bad news at the dentist. Our teeth aren't getting clean enough.
So Mom got us the Reach toothbrush.
A toothbrush makes a difference?
Clinical studies show Reach cleans 51% better than other leading brushes. Reach is angled to reach every tooth. And only Reach has reaching bristles to get between teeth and along gums. It cleans 51% better. And it's recognized by the American Dental Association.
Hope you got me, Reach.
Reach from Johnson & Johnson. Get 51% cleaner teeth.
Hey, I hope you're eating potato chips, because I got to show you something. These Delta Gold brand potato chips are so fine you can even see how good they taste. Check this out. Get out one of the chips you're eating and bring it up here. Now, I'll take out one of my chips, and you put your chip next to mine. You see how golden and light-colored these Delta Gold chips are? Well, that's exactly how they taste. Delta Gold chips absolutely sparkle with flavor, and the final proof is you take one out, you pop it into your mouth, and ba-bing! You are golden.
New Delta Gold brand. You can see how good they taste.
I was cramming for a huge history final on 500 pages of text. It was way after dinner, and I was getting hungry.
Snickers satisfies you.
You eat a Snickers and you say, okay, now I can face the 17th century again. Snickers really takes care of the hungry.
Packed with peanuts, peanut butter nougat, caramel, and milk chocolate. Mmm.
Satisfies you.
Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies.
If I want something to tide me over, I go for Snickers every time.
This is the one we've been waiting for. Sears Electronic Showplace Sale. Let's go down for a report on the action.
Thank you, Bob. You can feel the excitement in this crowd, and why not? Here's a remote control stereo TV. It's cable compatible, and you'll save $150. And a wireless remote VCR that's cable compatible and programmable for $170 off. Back to you, Bob.
Sears Electronic Showplace Sale. This'll be a dandy. There's more for your life.
They love it.
That's Sears.
Martin Torres, as told by Lauren Shankman, says he was addicted to his phone, but here's how he got over it. Yes. Martin struggled with phone addiction for years before his recovery. Now he doesn't fight to limit his time on his phone. He's free from the urge to use it compulsively. The symptoms of phone addiction can include any behavior that makes you suffer or feel guilt or shame around your phone use. Do you pick up your phone for one reason, then end up scrolling for hours without realizing how much time has passed? Guilty. Do you regularly set screen time limits and then blast through them? Do you find yourself doom scrolling, wishing you could stop and feeling powerless to do so? Do you lie about how much time you spend on your phone because you're too embarrassed to admit the truth? Or do you turn to your phone every time you have a free moment? Or does your phone use lead you to unprofessional work habits or neglecting relationships, work, studies, personal hygiene, or nutrition? These can be signs of an unhealthy phone addiction. And you may be wondering how to break a habit that's so destructive and uncannily powerful. Tricks like habit stacking can help build good habits. And tools like your iPhone Do Not Disturb mode can help combat the negative effects of social media on your brain. But sometimes they're not enough. In order to break his phone addiction, Martin Torres, whose name has been changed, learned that he had to go much deeper. And along the way, he ended up making a recovery possible for countless others by helping found a 12-step fellowship program for internet and technology addicts. This is his story. So, screen time as salvation. My phone addiction started before I got a phone. From a really young age, screens called to me. I'd always get excited to go to a friend's house where there were video games to play and televisions to watch. Long before I got a cell phone, I got a Game Boy. This was my first handheld device. My mom didn't allow us to have video games, and we didn't have a television, but she compromised with the Game Boy. I would stay up late or hide in my bathroom just to keep playing. And as I grew older, well, my attachment to screens and the rewards they gave me, a sense of wonder, fantasy, adventure, connection, and creativity, they grew stronger. And by the time I turned 11 or 12, I had started to feel more disconnected from my peers. That, combined with some traumatic experiences as a child, some abuse, led me to turn more and more to screens as a coping mechanism. Wow. Okay. Well, the picture of phone addiction. I got a flip phone when I was in middle school, but I didn't get a smartphone until I was 18. I was one of the last of my peers to get one, mostly because I suspected it would not be good for me. For a long time, I avoided signing up for social media for similar reasons. I had been struggling with a lot of compulsive activity with my laptop, playing online games, watching videos, and procrastinating on homework. But I remember when I did get a smartphone, oh wow, I thought, this is why everyone uses this. I felt so much smarter. I can just look up everything all the time. And in the first few months of having a smartphone, I felt this huge boost in my productivity and my intelligence. But this happened within the context of an ongoing battle against compulsive screen use, which could take me to late into the night and way into the morning. I'd even started to stay up all night and either on my phone or on my laptop, just scrolling through social media feeds, playing games and watching videos. This one's titled Hitting the Rock Bottom. The first time I ever considered that I might be a phone addict was in 2014. I'd gotten a summer scholarship, a real dream opportunity. I didn't have any professors, any homework, or any parents. I was on my own in a different city, and I couldn't stop watching YouTube videos on my phone. One night, probably around 4 or 5 a.m., I had a realization. I'd been sitting on the ground, been sitting hunched on the ground by the wall using the neighbor's Wi-Fi because I'd blown through all my data. And I was watching these videos, but I didn't enjoy them. I didn't want to be watching them. I thought they were inane and pointless. I remember watching a video and think to myself, please stop. I'm so tired. I don't like it. And I don't like this, and I'm not enjoying it. And then I watched my hand click on the next video. I felt really scared, like I was a prisoner of my own body. That was the first time I thought, could this be what an alcoholic experiences? I wouldn't be able to stop until I literally passed out. I'd fall asleep watching the video in bed, and I'd wake up a few hours later only to start again. I needed that morning screen time to start my day, just like it was coffee. Now, there's more stories to these things, with with the smartphone use and abuse of it. So we'll look at those next stories on the next couple of days. So we'll look at 3 more stories on tomorrow's edition of DMS 3000 News. So we'll keep this article up, and we've got the first few stories there. So we'll take a break. It's coming up to the 5 o'clock hour. When we come back, we'll look at our final commentary, which is Attitude is Everything by Joyce Myers. And of course, our motivation of the day and a look at those historic events for the 26th month of Black History Month of February. We'll be back right after this.
Sounds like a taste I can't get off my mind. Sounds good, it sounds crisp, it sounds like a taste I can't resist. Long John Silver.
An unusual thing happened recently. Some Cabbage Patch Kids were born with beautiful corn silk hair. Look, everyone said, you can wash and curl their hair and braid it and style it lots of ways. And they have their own brush they can hold. Seems as if they could have a different hairdo almost every day. And they always love to be loved, a lot.
Cabbage Patch Corn Silk Kids with everything you see here, each sold separately. Some accessories not included from Coleco.
I like new Giggles cookies because they've got 2 kinds of cream inside. He likes Giggles' funny faces. There's fudge and vanilla cream in each one. I can't believe how good this is.
New Giggles cookies. 2 kinds of cream in each funny face.
Are you gonna eat that?
All right, attitude is everything, according to Joyce Meyer. That's the story of it today for all of you out there. We were trying to do a more positive approach to things, and I think this one right here from Joyce Meyer Ministries really hit the nail on the head for this week's additional story. Why not, right? So this, of course, is a 6-minute read. Here we go. I believe that more than any other thing, our attitude is what determines the kind of life we are going to have. It's especially important to maintain a positive attitude because God is positive, and when we are positive, it releases Him to work in our lives. Being positive was an area of my life that God really had to help me with. Many years ago, I was an extremely negative person. So many devastating things had happened to me that I was afraid to believe anything good could ever happen. As a result, my whole philosophy was, if you don't expect anything good to happen, then you won't be disappointed when it doesn't. Since my thoughts were all negative, so were my words. Therefore, so was my life. When I really began to study the Word and trust God to restore me, one of the first things that He showed me was that negativity had to go. In fact, the longer I studied His Word, the more I realized the tremendous power there is in being positive in both our thoughts and words. I believe when we maintain a positive attitude, God takes the things the enemy means for our harm, and He works them out for our good and for the good of other people. See Romans chapter 8, verses 28. My own life is a perfect example. The enemy's plan was to use the years of abuse I suffered to destroy me. If I had chosen to continue responding to my circumstances with a negative attitude of anger and bitterness, he would have succeeded. Instead, I chose to be positive and believe that God's plan to heal and restore me would come to pass. It did, and now He is helping millions of people through my testimony. Having a positive attitude not only takes the limits off what God can do in and through us, it also helps us to see our circumstances from God's perspective and enables us to enjoy our everyday lives. You and I always have a choice about our attitude, and when we decide to react to our circumstances with a negative attitude, such as self-pity, resentment, or bitterness, it hinders God from doing everything He wants to do in our lives and keeps us from reaching our full potential. It's true that some of us may have to work harder than others to keep a positive attitude. For instance, I used to be the type of person who could walk into a newly decorated room and immediately notice something negative. My friend would show me the room and ask, "How do you like my decorations?" I would say, "Well, they look very nice, but you've got a piece of wallpaper loose up there in the corner." I always saw what was wrong. I had to work a lot harder at having a positive attitude than some people, like my husband Dave, who just naturally has a more positive attitude than me. Now, being negative may not seem like a big deal at first, but having a negative attitude will never make us or others very happy. So how do we fix it? Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7, AMPC says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." I was a negative person because my thoughts were negative. So I decided that if I didn't want to spend the rest of my life being negative and unhappy, I'd have to think positively, even if things around me look negative. For instance, Numbers chapter 13 tells us about the 12 men Moses sent as spices into the land of Canaan. 10 came back with a negative report, and 2, Joshua and Caleb, had a positive report. The 10 with the negative report told Moses and the rest of the people about the fortified cities and the big, strong giants that lived there. They said, "We are not able to go up against the people of Canaan, for they are stronger than we are." Numbers chapter 13, verses 31. The effect of the negative words of those 10 men was amazing. Based on their negative report, the entire nation of Israel refused to go into the land, thereby forfeiting God's promises to them. In the same way, a negative attitude can help you from realizing that the promises of God for your life, because it keeps you from moving forward in faith. The only 2 people out of the entire generation who ever saw the promised land were the 2 spies who gave a positive report, Joshua and Caleb. After seeing the same thing that the other 10 spies saw, they said, "Let us go up at once and possess it. We are still able to conquer it." Numbers chapter 13, verse 30, AMPQ or AMPC. These 2 men had a different perspective. A positive attitude is a result of focusing on the right thing, God. And when we focus on the problem instead of on God, we miss His perspective of our situation. In Numbers chapter 13, verse 33, the 10 spies who gave the negative report said, "There we saw the Nephilim, or giants, the sons of Anak, who came from the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight." These men were looking at the giants and at themselves, and they were not looking at God. So how does God want us to respond to difficult circumstances? He doesn't want us to ignore them or deny their existence. He just wants us to acknowledge that He is greater than our circumstances and deny their right to control us. Maintaining a positive attitude is one of the most powerful ways that we can do this, because it's not our circumstances that make us miserable. It's our attitude towards them. And no matter what sort of giants we may be facing, the truth is, He who lives in us is greater, mightier than he who is in the world. 1 John chapter 4, verse 4. I remember how differently Dave and I would deal with problems in the early years of our marriage. Dave would just go on and do what he normally did, enjoy his life, and trust God to take care of it. Now, I, on the other hand, would be worried, frustrated, and upset for days on end. Eventually, we would get an answer, the problem would be taken care of, and I would have wasted a lot of time being upset. Like Dave, I learned to choose a positive, faith-filled attitude and begin trusting God instead of worrying all the time. When we keep our eyes on God instead of on the giants in our lives, things take on a whole new perspective, and we can enjoy our lives while we positively trust Him to take care of our circumstances. Whatever you may be dealing with, I want to encourage you to ask God for the grace to maintain a positive attitude all the way through. It will not only help you maintain God's perspective and enjoy your life, but it will also make you a blessing to everyone around you. And if you let Him, if you keep the right attitude, even in the difficult times, God will take your problems and work them out for your good and leave you with a testimony of His power and goodness. And there you have it, friends. Joyce Meyer from her book, With a Positive Attitude. Great story. And we'll be back with more DMS 3000 news. But we're not going to commercial. All right, we're going to finish up with the historic events of Black History Month. So let's look at CBS 42. We're not going to commercial break. We've done all our commercials for the day, so we're going to wrap the next two things up real quick. Let's put it up here. Stay. Okay, this was on the 15th, so now we've got to put it on the 26th. There we go. Okay, let's pull this up. Of course, this is from CBS42.com. These articles go back to February 26, 2017, all of it during Black History Month. So even though the article may be as old as 7 years, the information and the accuracy of the article is still intact. The 15th Amendment guaranteeing the right to vote for all citizens was sent to the states, and Trayvon Martin was killed, leading to a national debate over stand your ground laws. All this and more in today's special edition of The Day in History. On this day in 1869, the 15th Amendment was sent to the states for ratification. It was ratified on February 3rd, 1870. The amendment prohibits the federal and state governments from denying a citizen the right to vote based on that citizen's race, color, or previous condition of servitude. 2012, Trayvon Martin, an African-American teen, was fatally shot while walking home by George Zimmerman, a neighborhood watch volunteer patrolling the community. Zimmerman claimed to have shot Martin out of self-defense during a physical altercation. A year and a half later, on July 13th of 2013, George Zimmerman was found not guilty in his trial over the case. Later that year, the city of Sanford, where Martin was killed, announced new rules forbidding volunteers in its neighborhood watch program for carrying guns and pursuing suspects. The case sparked a national debate over stand your ground laws. And in 1928, Antoine Fats Domino was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. The rhythm and blues legend would go on to make such hits as Blueberry Hill and Ain't That a Shame and sell 5 gold records. And finally, in 1926, Theodore Georgia Deacon Flowers defeated Harry Greb, winning the middleweight boxing title. He was the first African-American middleweight boxing champion ever. And there you have it, friends. The historic events of Black History Month for today, February 26th, 2024. All right, here we go. Let's now look at the Daily Motivator for today. Get you on your way. Ralph Marston has this particular one for you. Where are you? Come on. Here we go. Daily Motivator. Okay. Let's pull this one up. And today on February 26th, 2024, the topic is meaningful experience. There's something you can do today that you'll treasure later. Consider what it might be. Many of your day's activities will rush quickly into awareness and then recede just as quickly. Yet with the right amount of attention and caring, you can always make any particular experience meaningful and memorable. Shared experiences are often the ones that have the best chance for enduring significance. Authentic experiences that demand the best way you keep from I'm sorry, let me repeat that again. Shared experiences are often the ones that have the best chance for enduring significance. Authentic experiences that demand the best from you can be similarly meaningful. Now, it can be easy to convince yourself you're too busy to connect with someone special or to trouble yourself with authentic, enriching activities. Most of the time, though, that's not really true. You have the ability, you can find the time, the opportunity exists for rich and meaningful experiences if you make it priority. And Ralph also says your life is precious and all life is precious. And remember to give it the care and attention it deserves. Fantastic, Ralph Marston. Thank you very much for your daily motivator of the day. Well, that's going to do it for our program on this edition of DMS 3000 News. Episode 127 is finished. Hope you had a fun time with us today. Don't forget to check us out tonight. If you are one of the contestants in our game show tapings, we hope that we'll see you at the Discord game rooms between 7 and 10 for the season finale of Joker's Wild and Blockbusters. They're the season finales wrapping up tonight, and then Tic-Tac-Toe will also be there. It has about 5 more episodes to go before it wraps up its second season. So lots of game show recordings tonight. We'll see you in Discord for then, for the fun and games for tonight. All right. I'm Jason DeCanio. Thank you very much. Once again, be honest, be real, and keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Gary Dawson Network for more great content like this one.